My husband's sister publicly humiliated me at our family barbecue, so I leaked her darkest secret to the whole family. I'm Emily, 34, and I thought I'd found my place in my husband Tom's family. 5 years of trying, hoping, believing I belonged, until one summer day shattered that dream. Imagine our annual barbecue. Fairy lights glowing, burgers sizzling, laughter warming our Denver backyard. I'm the host, pouring my heart into every detail, thinking I've finally won them over. Then Claire, my sister-in-law, stands, her wine glass gleaming, her smirk sharp as a knife. In one brutal speech, she tears me apart in front of Tom, his parents, our neighbors. Everyone. Their laughter isn't kind. It's a roar, slicing through me like a storm. That moment, locking eyes with Claire's smug face, I made a silent vow. GP. Over 8 months, I built a plan that flipped her world upside down, exposing secrets she thought buried. But when it was over, I stood in the wreckage, wondering, was I the hero fighting back or the villain who burned it all down? Have you ever been betrayed by family? Maybe a sibling's jab, a parent's cold shoulder, or a friend's lie hit harder than you expected. That's where this story starts. A raw, messy tale of humiliation, cunning, and a showdown you won't forget. It's a wild ride, and I'm inviting you to come along. Let me paint the picture. I'm an elementary school teacher, shaping third graders' worlds with stories, math games, and a little magic. Growing up in a small family, just Mom and my sister Lily, our holidays were quiet, full of love and thrift store gifts. Tom's family is the opposite. Loud, tight-knit, their BBQ's legendary. Tom's a history teacher, all puns and heart. His parents, Barb and Greg, are retired dog lovers. Jake, his brother, is the goofy one. And Claire. She's the realtor queen, charming but cruel, ruling the family like it's her throne. This story's for anyone who's felt invisible, who's been burned by someone who thought they could crush you. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from? Denver like me. Sydney. Your kitchen with a snack. Smash that like button and subscribe to see how I turned Claire's challenge into my triumph. You're in for something special. Claire thought she'd buried me that day, her words echoing over the grill's smoke. She had no idea what I'd unleash. Stay with me. This is just the spark of a long, fiery journey. 5 years into my marriage to Tom, I thought I'd cracked the code to his family. I'm Emily, 34, an elementary school teacher in a cozy Denver suburb. Our home's a warm jumble of coffee mugs, Tom's history books, and his relentless puns. He's a high school teacher making kids groan with lines like, "The past's a blast if you study it." I fell for that dorky charm 6 years ago at a friend's game night, where we bonded over a brutal Scrabble loss. My family was small. Mom and my sister Lily, now a chef in Portland. Growing up, holidays meant potlucks, card games, and love stitched into thrifted gifts. I'd sit in our tiny kitchen, Mom teaching me to bake cookies, her laughter filling the space. Those memories grounded me, a contrast to Tom's boisterous clan, whose annual barbecue was a neighborhood legend. Barb and Greg, Tom's parents, were retired and obsessed with their rescue dogs. Max, their slobbery lab, ruled their house. Greg's heart attack 3 years ago left Barb fussing like a worried hen. Jake, Tom's younger brother, was the family jester, cracking jokes or botching playlists with shaky Wi-Fi. Claire, 38, was a realtor with a smile that cut like glass. Since Greg's scare, she'd been Tom's gatekeeper, deciding who belonged. I wanted in desperately. I memorized Barb's potato salad recipe, tweaking it until Greg grunted. Not bad. I hosted game nights, chuckled at Jake's terrible impressions, bought sundresses to match Barb's casual chic vibe. But Claire had other plans. Her compliments were venom in velvet. "That dress is so brave, Emily," she'd smirk over her wine. I'd smile, swallow the sting, and keep trying. Her slights started early. 3 months after Tom proposed at our first family dinner, I brought a Merlot, proud I'd saved for it. Claire sipped, wrinkled her nose, and said, "It's Merlot, not Morlot, Emily." Cute try. The table chuckled. Tom squeezed my knee, but his silence hurt. I cried in our car, feeling like I'd flunked a test. At Jake's birthday karaoke night 2 years back, I sang a shaky, sweet Caroline. Claire whispered, "Stick to teaching him. Singing's not your thing." Barb laughed it off, saying, "Claire's just teasing." But it landed like a punch. I doubted I'd ever fit in. The worst was last spring. I miscarried at 11 weeks. The pain was a tidal wave. Physical, emotional, relentless. Tom was buried in grading, supportive but distracted. I told him I'd manage. Barb sent a card. "Thinking of you. Rest up." Felt cold. Claire called, voice dripping. "Maybe it's for the best, Emily. Teaching's so stressful, don't you think?" Her words cut deeper than the loss. Lily drove from Portland, made tea, and held me as I sobbed. Tom's family didn't show. I buried the hurt, telling myself it was their way. Teaching was my heart, but it was tough. I poured myself into my third graders, especially Sophie, a shy girl struggling with reading. Her mom, Rachel, was skeptical, emailing constantly. "Sophie's not improving. Are you qualified?" Her doubt stung like Claire's jabs. I created a reading challenge, pairing books with crafts, watching Sophie start to shine. But Rachel wasn't convinced. At a parent meeting, she said, "You're spread too thin, Emily. Sophie deserves better." I left shaken, vowing to prove her wrong. Sophie's progress became my anchor, a way to show I could succeed despite Rachel's and Claire's doubts. A new ally emerged. Laura, a fellow teacher. Over lunch in the staff room, she saw my stress, lesson plans piling up, Rachel's emails, family demands. "You're killing it with Sophie," Laura said, her smile warm. "But don't burn out. You're more than your to-do list." Her encouragement was a lifeline, but she warned me about overextending, like taking on the barbecue. "You don't have to prove yourself to everyone," she said. Her words echoed Mom's advice, but I was too driven to listen. Laura's support gave me strength, a reminder I wasn't alone at school, even if I felt it with Tom's family. I also joined a parent volunteer group at school, hoping to boost my reputation and show Rachel I was committed. The group organized fundraisers and field trips, but Carla, a vocal parent, challenged me from the start. To our first meeting, she crossed her arms and said, "Emily, you're new here. Are you sure you can handle this on top of teaching?" Her tone was sharp like Claire's, questioning my place. I pushed back, organizing a book fair that raised funds, but Carla nitpicked every decision. "Wrong books, bad timing." "You're not focused," she told Karen, my principal, who gave me a warning look. Carla's resistance felt like another battle, piling onto Claire's slights and Rachel's doubts, but I kept going, determined to prove my worth. Then came Mrs. Patel, a school board member who decided to audit my classroom as part of a district review. She'd heard about Rachel's and Carla's complaints and showed up unannounced, clipboard in hand, scrutinizing my lessons. "Your methods are unconventional, Emily," she said after a session, her tone neutral but pointed. "We expect results." Her presence was a constant pressure, her weekly visits looming over me as I juggled Sophie's progress, the volunteer group, and Tom's family. I invited her to observe my reading challenge, hoping to impress her, but she remained skeptical, noting, "Passion is good, but discipline matters." Her scrutiny felt like another version of Claire's gatekeeping, testing my ability to belong in my own classroom. I doubled down, refining lesson plans late at night, determined to show Mrs. Patel and everyone else I was enough. Family demands, dinners, dog-sitting Max, helping Tom with school fundraisers, ate my time. Parents complained, echoing Rachel's, Carla's, and now Mrs. Patel's doubts. Karen warned, "Emily, you're gifted but slipping. Get it together." Claire's voice haunted, "Your little job." I felt like I was failing everywhere. Barb wasn't always warm. At a family brunch, I shared Sophie's progress. Barb frowned. "Sounds like extra work, Emily. Don't you have enough to handle?" Her words dismissed me. I wanted to prove I could do it all. Teaching, family, the barbecue, the volunteer group, even Mrs. Patel's audit. The barbecue was my chance to shine. I planned for weeks, stringing fairy lights, setting up cornhole, perfecting that potato salad. Max would steal hot dogs, Jake would fumble the music, and I'd play host, hoping to feel like family. I was buzzing, picturing Barb's smile, Greg's nod. I hoped Rachel, Carla, and Mrs. Patel might hear about it through Sophie or the school. See, I was more than their doubts. Laura cautioned, "Don't let it define you, Em." But I was all in. Claire texted, "Need help? Let's make this epic." I missed the red flag, too caught up in hope. Barbecue morning, I woke at dawn, chopping onions, marinating chicken, my sundress pressed. Tom was on a call, planning a school trip, tossing me a grin. "You're a rock star, Em," he said, missing my nerves. I checked my lesson planner, proud of Sophie's growth, bolstered by Laura's faith, and hopeful Carla and Mrs. Patel might notice my efforts. Maybe I'd tell Barb, Rachel, even Carla, and earn their respect. The backyard came alive as guests arrived. Kids chased Max, neighbors swapped stories, the grill smoked under Tom's watch. I darted between tables, refilling drinks, feeling like I was nailing it. Claire showed up in a tailored sundress, air-kissing Barb, joking with Jake. She caught my eye, winked and said, "Looking good, Em. This is your moment." Her smile was warm, but something flickered. I brushed it off, too busy to overthink. For 5 years I'd bent over backward to join Tom's family, ignoring Claire's slights, Barb's distance, Rachel's, Carla's, and Mrs. Patel's doubts. Laura's support gave me hope, but I thought this barbecue would seal my place among them. Oh, how wrong I was. The backyard was electric. Charcoal smoke drifted from the grill, kids shrieked in water gun battles, and neighbors clinked glasses under fairy lights. I was everywhere, refilling lemonade, straightening napkins, my sundress swishing. This was my barbecue, my moment to prove I belonged. The potato salad, Barb's recipe, perfected after weeks, sat proudly on the buffet, creamy and flecked with dill. I caught Tom's eye by the grill. His apron splattered with sauce. He winked and I felt unstoppable. I poured everything into this day. For once, I wasn't the schoolteacher scrambling to fit into Tom's family. Barb mingled with guests, Greg tossed a ball for Max, and Jake butchered the playlist, his phone blaring a choppy pop song. Claire seemed in on it, her tailored sundress gleaming as she laughed with cousins. I thought I'd earned my place. I'd been planning for weeks, dreaming of Barb's approval, hoping Rachel, Sophie's mom, Carla from the volunteer group, and even Mrs. Patel from the school board might hear about my success. Sophie's reading progress kept me going through late nights of lesson plans. Laura, my colleague, had cheered me on, saying, "You've got this, Em." I wanted to belong, to be seen beyond Rachel's emails, Carla's nitpicking, Mrs. Patel's scrutiny, or Claire's jabs. But not everyone was on my side. Judy, our nosy neighbor, had been gossiping. I overheard her telling a cousin, "Emily's trying too hard, bless her. Hosting this barbecue. She's in over her head." Her words stung, echoing Rachel's, Carla's, and Mrs. Patel's doubts. I brushed it off, focusing on the party, but Judy's whispers spread, neighbors glancing my way with pity. Then there was Martin, a family friend of Barb and Greg's, practically a third parent to Tom. He'd known Claire forever and always praised her. Earlier he'd pulled me aside, smiling but firm. "This BBQ's a big job, Emily," he said. "Sure you're up for it? It's our tradition." His doubt hit like a brick, making me feel like an outsider trying to claim their legacy. I forced a smile. I've got it covered. But inside I was reeling. Martin's words, paired with Judy's gossip, made me question if I'd ever be enough. Sarah, Tom's colleague from the high school, was another blow. I'd met her at faculty events, always friendly but reserved. As I set up tables, I overheard her talking to a neighbor. "Emily's sweet, but she's pushing too hard with this party," Sarah said. "It's Claire's thing, really." Her words cut deep, aligning her with Claire's narrative. I hadn't realized Sarah saw me as an interloper, and her misjudgment, paired with Judy's gossip and Martin's doubt, felt like a betrayal from Tom's world, not just his family. Then came Lisa, Tom's cousin, who'd always been polite but distant. As I refilled drinks, I caught her chatting with Barb near the buffet. Emily's trying so hard, Lisa said, her tone patronizing. But this BBQ's always been Claire's domain, hasn't it? Barb nodded absently, and Lisa's dismissal landed like a slap. I'd spent weeks perfecting every detail, yet Lisa saw me as an outsider meddling in family tradition, echoing Claire's gatekeeping and amplifying my insecurity. Her words, layered with Judy's, Martin's and Sarah's, made me feel like I was fighting a losing battle. As the sun dipped, Claire grabbed a wine glass, tapping it with a spoon. The crowd quieted, heads turning. My chest swelled with pride. She'd offered to help. Maybe this was her thanking me. "Everyone," Claire called, voice smooth. "Let's toast our host." Smiles spread. I stood taller, smoothing my dress. "Thank you, Emily," she started, raising her glass. "This BBQ's our tradition, and you've tried to make it your own." Her smile twitched. Guests chuckled, thinking it was light. My stomach nodded. "That potato salad," she went on. "You said it's Mom's recipe, right? So sweet how you keep trying to match her." My cheeks burned. I'd slaved over that salad, tasting every batch. It was perfect. She knew it. And who could forget Emily's karaoke at Jake's birthday? Claire's eyes gleamed. That sweet Caroline was unforgettable. Laughter rippled. My throat closed. She'd mocked me privately, but now, in front of everyone. "Here's to Emily," she finished, voice dripping with pity. "For trying." She raised her glass, smirking. The backyard erupted. Tom chuckled, hiding it with a sip of beer. Barb stared at her plate, lips pursed. Jake hesitated, glancing my way, but joined in weakly. Neighbors, cousins, even the kids, they all laughed, their voices a cold wave. Judy's voice cut through, loud to a friend. "Told you she's out of her depth." Martin's chuckle followed, shaking his head. Sarah nodded subtly, her expression confirming her earlier words. Lisa's giggle, soft but sharp, sealed it. My face was fire, my hands ice cold. I was invisible in my own backyard, a punchline in my own home. Can you imagine this? 5 years of effort, and I was nothing to them. I locked eyes with Claire across the table. Her smirk was a dare, a challenge clear as day. In my mind I answered, "Challenge accepted." I didn't cry or storm off. I stood frozen, gripping a serving spoon, vowing she'd regret this. Her perfect image, real to queen, family favorite, was her armor. I'd shatter it, despite Judy's rumors, Martin's doubt, Sarah's misjudgment, Lisa's dismissal, Rachel's emails, Carla's resistance, Mrs. Patel's scrutiny. The rest of the barbecue was a blur of pain. I moved like a robot, clearing plates, avoiding their eyes. I thought of Sophie, her progress I'd wanted to share with Barb, maybe even Martin, Sarah or Lisa. But Judy's gossip, Martin's words, Sarah's judgment, Lisa's snub made it feel pointless. Mrs. Lee, another neighbor, touched my arm. "Great party, Emily," she said, but her pity stung more than her praise. As the crowd thinned, I scrubbed dishes alone in the kitchen, the fairy lights twinkling outside mocking me. Tom wandered in, loosening his apron, oblivious. "Great party, Em," he said, grinning. "Claire's toast was funny, huh?" Judy, Martin, Sarah, even Lisa were cracking up. I snapped, slamming a plate down. "Funny. She humiliated me, Tom. And you laughed." Judy's spreading lies. Martin thinks I'm a fraud, Sarah's on Claire's side, and Lisa doesn't respect me. He frowned, scratching his neck. "She was just joking, babe. Don't take it so seriously." His words were a fresh wound. He didn't get it, he never did. I needed air, perspective, someone who'd understand. I called Mia, my college friend, who'd skipped the barbecue for a work trip. She answered instantly, her voice a lifeline. I spilled everything. Claire's toast, the laughter, Judy's gossip, Martin's doubt, Sarah's betrayal, Lisa's dismissal, my fights with Rachel, Carla, and Mrs. Patel. "She's a snake, Em," Mia said firmly. Judy's noise, Martin's blind, Sarah and Lisa are wrong. Find Claire's weak spot, she's hiding something. Her words lit a spark. Claire wasn't untouchable. That night, as Tom slept, I sat on our couch, replaying Claire's smirk. Her phone, her tense glances, guarded something. It was my way in. I didn't know what I'd find, but I'd start there. Claire's toast was a wound that wouldn't heal. Her smirk a constant jab in my mind. The laughter, Judy's gossip, Martin's chuckle, Sarah's nod, Lisa's giggle, echoed like a cruel chorus. I'd vowed to make her pay, but I needed to know what she was hiding. Her phone, always guarded, was my first clue, but I had to be smart. I wasn't a detective, just a third-grade teacher with a grudge, but I'd learn. This was my investigation, the first step to tearing down Claire's perfect facade. Can you feel that moment when you decide to fight back? That fire in your gut? That's where I was. The weeks after the barbecue were a blur of hurt and determination. I went through the motions. Teaching, grading, dodging Rachel's emails, Carla's complaints, and Mrs. Patel's audits. Sophie's progress kept me grounded. Her shy smiles a reminder of why I loved my job. Laura checked in, her lunchroom chats a lifeline, but even she noticed my edge. "You're distracted, Em," she said, brow furrowed. "Don't let that barbecue define you." I nodded, but Claire's dare consumed me. I had to find her secret, something to flip the script. Mia was my rock. We met at a Denver coffee shop, her laptop glowing with ideas. "Claire's too polished," Mia said, sipping her latte. "Nobody's that perfect without skeletons." She suggested digging into Claire's real estate world. Clients, deals, anything off. I remembered Claire's tense phone glances, her quick swipes to hide notifications. "Start small," Mia urged. "Watch her patterns." Her confidence was infectious, but I felt out of my depth. What if I got caught? What if I found nothing? An unexpected ally emerged. Natalie, a former colleague who'd left teaching to run a bakery. We'd bonded years ago over lesson plans and coffee, but lost touch when she moved across town. I ran into her at a farmer's market, her stall piled with scones. "Emily," she called, hugging me. "You look stressed." Over free pastries, I spilled about the barbecue, Claire's toast, the laughter, my need to fight back. Natalie's eyes lit up. "I know Claire," she said. "She sold my cousin a condo last year. Always secretive, meeting clients late, dodging questions." My pulse quickened. "She's got a reputation," Natalie added. "Some deals felt off. Check her client list." Her insight was gold, but risky. Natalie still knew Claire's circle. If word got back, I'd be exposed. Natalie's tips sent me down a rabbit hole. I started small, scouring Claire's real estate website for client reviews. Most were glowing, but a few were vague, mentioning last-minute changes or private meetings. I cross-checked names on social media, finding a pattern. Several clients were married men, their profiles linked to Claire's in subtle ways. One name stood out. Dylan Carter, a lawyer who'd bought a downtown loft through Claire. His profile picture showed a smug grin. His wife smiling beside him. Was this the Dylan from her phone? I jotted notes, my heart racing, but I needed more. I tried tailing Claire to a client meeting, feeling like a bad spy movie. She was showing a house in a ritzy neighborhood. Her red SUV parked out front. I lingered in my car, pretending to read, watching her charm a couple. Her phone was out, buzzing constantly, her face tightening as she typed. I couldn't get close, but I saw a man, tall, suit familiar, approach her after the clients left. They spoke briefly, her hand brushing his arm. Was that Dylan? My phone died before I could snap a photo, and I cursed my amateur sleuthing. Claire glanced my way, her eyes narrowing. I ducked, heart pounding, praying she hadn't seen me. Back home I dug deeper, using Mia's laptop to search public records. Claire's name popped up on several property sales, including Dylan's loft. One document listed a consulting fee to an unnamed party, unusual for a realtor. Natalie met me again, this time at her bakery. "That's shady," she said, scanning the record. "Claire's always been cagey about money. My cousin said she pushed him to wire funds fast, no questions." Natalie offered to ask her cousin for more, but I hesitated. If Claire hears you're snooping, I said, she'll know it's me. Natalie nodded. I'll be subtle, but you're playing with fire, Em. Her warning stuck, but I couldn't stop. Work was a minefield. Rachel's emails grew sharper, Carla's volunteer group nitpicked my book fair, and Mrs. Patel's audits loomed. Karen, my principal, called me in. Focus, Emily, she said. You're slipping. I apologized, vowing to balance Sophie's progress with my revenge. But Claire's shadow was everywhere, her voice in my head, her smirk in my dreams. Natalie's clues were a start, but I needed hard proof. I tried a bolder move at a community event Claire hosted, a real estate seminar at the library. I went under the guise of supporting her, my stomach in knots. Claire was polished, pitching market trends to a small crowd. Her laptop was open on a table, unattended. I edged closer, pretending to grab a flyer, and glimpsed an email from Dylan. Need to talk tonight. My hands shook as I tried to screenshot it, but Claire's voice cut through. Enjoying the talk, Em? She was beside me, smiling like a shark. I stammered, just browsing, and backed away. She closed her laptop, her gaze cold. I'd been too obvious, and she knew I was after something. Mia and Natalie weren't fazed. You're close, Mia said over coffee. Natalie texted. My cousin confirmed Claire's pushy with cash deals. Keep digging. Their faith kept me going, but doubt crept in. Was I obsessed? Was this worth the risk? I thought of Sophie, her progress slowing as I lost focus. Laura's words, don't let it define you, haunted me, but Claire's challenge was louder. By late summer I had scraps. Dylan's name, shady deals, Natalie's hints, but no smoking gun. Claire was careful, her phone locked, her life a fortress. I needed a plan, allies, a way to crack her armor. The investigation was just the start, but it had lit a fire I couldn't douse. Have you ever chased a truth you couldn't let go? That's where I stood, ready to dive deeper, no matter the cost. Claire's secret was waiting, and I was going to find it. Her barbecue toast burned in my mind, her smirk replaying endlessly. Judy's gossip, Emily's in over her head, Martin's doubts, Sarah's misjudgment, and Lisa's dismissal piled on, making me feel small. I wasn't their punchline. I'd expose Claire, but I needed a plan. Mia was my first call. We met at a diner, coffee steaming, her laptop open. We're detectives now, she grinned. Claire's not perfect. Nobody's that polished without dirt. I nodded, picturing Claire's phone, face down, her tense fingers during calls. It was my target. Mia had left a toxic job chasing freelance writing. I need a win, she said. Her fire fueled me. Then Lily, my sister, surprised me with a visit from Portland. Over wine, she shared a betrayal, a chef mentor who'd stolen her recipes. Fight back, Em, Lily urged. We plotted late, her childhood stories of mom facing bullies stroking my resolve. Lily's support was my anchor. I found another boost from neighborhood kids, Tommy and Sophie's cousins, who'd asked for help with a school project on Denver's history, inspired by my reading challenge. At the park we built a model train station, their excitement lifting me. But Claire drove by, eyeing us. Another project, Em, she teased. I shrugged, but her suspicion rattled me. Mr. Ellis, a retired teacher across the street, became an ally. After the barbecue, I confided in him while he tended his roses. Claire's cruel, he said, sharing a story of a principal who'd belittled him. I proved my work mattered. You can too. His wisdom gave me courage, but Claire saw us talking, her car slowing, and I worried I'd tipped her off. Then I met Ms. Carter, the local librarian, at the library where I took Sophie's class. Noticing my stress, she asked about my work. I hinted at Claire's cruelty, and Ms. Carter, familiar with Claire's real estate deals through library events, mentioned odd patterns, late-night meetings, vague client names. Check her records, she suggested, handing me a real estate journal. Her clues pointed me toward Claire's business, but when Claire spotted me at the library, browsing property listings, her eyes narrowed. Researching Emily, she asked. I mumbled an excuse, heart racing. knowing I'd have to be careful. At a family dinner at Barb's, I watched Claire. Her phone buzzed, a Vault app notification flashing. She swiped it away, eyes darting. Vault. Mia texted. Vault hides texts, pics. Crack it. I fake checking my phone, heart racing. My first try was Claire's birthday dinner. Her condo was luxe. Marble counters, skyline views. I felt small in my thrift store dress. Claire greeted me all charm. Emily loved the effort, her smile cold. Tom chatted with Greg, Jake took selfies, Barb fussed over the cake. I hovered by Claire's phone, charging on the island. She stepped away and I pounced. My hands shook as I tapped the screen. No lock too easy. An email from Dylan read. Last night. My pulse surged. Claire's voice cut in. More wine, Em. She was back, eyes sharp. I dropped the phone. Just checking the time, I mumbled, retreating. She grabbed it, her gaze icy, and fumbled. Mia, Lily, Mr. Ellis, and Ms. Carter didn't waver. At a coffee shop, Lily sketched plans. Mia found Dylan's profile. A married lawyer, Claire's client. An affair, Lily said. Get her phone again, Mr. Ellis urged, meeting us later. Ms. Carter sent me a tip about Dylan's property purchase, suggesting Claire's deals weren't clean. Their support kept me focused. Work was crumbling. Rachel's emails, Carla's complaints, and Mrs. Patel's audits piled up. Karen, my principal, warned. You're on thin ice, Emily. Claire's voice taunted. Your little job. I poured more into Sophie, but the pressure was crushing. I tried again at Claire's open house, a sleek townhome. The place was packed, Claire pitching luxury. Her phone was on a table. I edged closer, faking interest in a lamp. The screen was locked. I tried 1234. Nothing. Claire's voice hit. What are you doing, Em? She was behind me, smiling like a trap. Just looking, I stammered. She tilted her head. Curiosity's dangerous, Emily. I fled, knowing she suspected me. Lily, Mr. Ellis, and Ms. Carter kept me grounded. At the park, the kids showed off their project, Tommy calling me the best. Mr. Ellis shared another resilient story. Ms. Carter sent another tip. Their support pushed me forward. Game night at Barb's was my breakthrough. Jake yelled over Monopoly. Greg grumbled, Tom snuck chips. Claire's phone was on the coffee table. I'd seen a flyer. 1423 Maple Drive, her prized listing. I typed 1423. It unlocked. I opened Vault, finding texts from Dylan. Miss you. Last night was fire. Tell her soon, Dylan. Claire was cheating with a married client. I snapped photos, hands shaking. Claire glanced over, and I slid her phone back, faking a dice roll. Guilt hit, was this too far? Barb, Greg, Tom would hurt. But Claire's smirk, Judy's gossip, Martin's doubt, Sarah's words, Lisa's snub burned. She'd earned this. Thanksgiving loomed, and Claire was watching me like a hawk. With proof of Claire's affair in my hands, I felt a rush of power and fear. Those screenshots, tucked in my desk drawer, were dynamite, but Claire's suspicion was a shadow over me. Her narrowed eyes at the open house, her taunt, "Curiosity's dangerous," rang in my ears. She knew I was onto her, and the stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just about revenge. It was a chess game, and Claire was no pawn. I had to stay sharp, but the pressure was crushing. School, family, my own doubts. This was the escalation, the moment my plan could soar or crash. Have you ever felt the thrill of being so close to winning, but scared you'd lose it all? Fall in Denver was crisp, leaves crunching underfoot, but my world was anything but calm. Sophie's progress was a bright spot, her reading improving, but Rachel's emails kept coming, Carla's volunteer group nitpicked, and Mrs. Patel's audits loomed. Karen, my principal, called me in again. "Emily, your passion's there, but your focus isn't," she said. "Fix it." I nodded, but my mind was on Claire. Her phone, her secrets, her next move. Laura, my colleague, noticed my strain. "You're pushing too hard, Em," she said over coffee. "Whatever's eating you, let it go." I couldn't. not with Dylan's texts burning a hole in my resolve. Mia, Lily, Mr. Ellis, and Ms. Carter were my war council. We met at Mia's apartment, papers strewn across her table. "You've got the texts," Mia said, "but Claire's not dumb. She'll cover her tracks." Lily nodded, sketching a timeline. "Thanksgiving's your stage, but she's watching you." Mr. Ellis shared a story about outsmarting a rival teacher, his calm voice steadying me. "Stay unpredictable," he said. Ms. Carter added a tip. Her real estate office, files, maybe emails, could lock this in. Their support was fuel, but Claire's suspicion was a constant threat. A new voice entered the fray. Helen, Barb's friend and a family confidant who'd known Claire since childhood. I ran into her at Barb's house while dropping off a fundraiser flyer for Tom's school fundraiser for Tom. Helen, sipping tea in Barb's kitchen, fixed me with a stern look. "I heard about the barbecue," she said, voice low. "Claire was harsh, but you're stirring things up, Emily. Family's family, don't tear it apart." Her words hit like a slap. She'd always been Barb's loyal ally, protective of the family's bond, and she saw Claire as their anchor. "Claire's under stress," Helen added. "Let her be. Focus on Tom." I forced a smile, my stomach churning. "I'm trying to belong," I said. She sighed. "You do, but loyalty matters more than pride." Her warning was clear. Back off, Claire, or I'd rally the family against me. Helen's protectiveness, her belief that I was the threat, felt like a betrayal, echoing Lisa's dismissal and Martin's doubts, but it steeled my resolve. I wouldn't let Claire's allies stop me. Claire upped the ante. At a family brunch, she cornered me in Barb's hallway. Her smile razor-thin. "You've been busy, Em," she said. "Hanging at my open houses, chatting with librarians. What's up with that?" I froze. She'd been tracking my moves. Ms. Carter, the library, even Mr. Ellis. "I don't like being followed," she added, her voice low. "Back off, or you'll see what happens when you cross me." I lied. "I'm just supporting you," I mumbled, but my voice shook, betraying my fear. Her eyes gleamed like a predator sensing weakness. I left shaking, knowing I'd play dirtier now. I doubled down, meeting Natalie again for more insight. She tipped me about Dylan, but now she was asking questions. "Claire called my cousin," Natalie said, nervous at her bakery. "She's asking who's digging into her deals." I swallowed, realizing my snooping with Natalie had left a trail. "I'm careful," I said, but doubt crept in. Natalie gave me another lead. A coworker who'd seen Claire with Dylan at a bar. Too cozy for business. "Be careful, Em," she warned. "Claire's connected." I nodded, but I was in too deep. I tried a desperate move. Claire's office after hours, hoping to glimpse her files. Posing as a delivery driver, I got inside, but her assistant was there, eyeing me. I fumbled, wrong address, and fled, heart pounding. Claire texted me later. "Nice try, Em. Stay in your lane." She knew. My hands shook as I showed Mia the text. "She's rattled," Mia said, grinning. "Push harder." Work suffered. Rachel complained. Carla sabotaged a volunteer event. And Mrs. Patel's latest audit was brutal. "Your heart's not here," she said. I begged for time, pouring energy into Sophie, but Claire's threat loomed. Helen's warning, "Don't tear the family apart," clashed with Lily's fire, Mr. Ellis's wisdom, Ms. Carter's tips. I was torn, but Claire's taunt was louder. As Thanksgiving neared, I planned my reveal, but Claire was a step ahead, her eyes everywhere. The escalation was real, and I was walking a tightrope. Ever been so close to a win, but felt the ground slipping. That's me, heart pounding, ready for the final move. Barb's house smelled of roasted turkey and tension. Thanksgiving was in full swing, the dining room packed with Tom's family, cousins, and neighbors squeezed around a table groaning with mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce and Barb's famous stuffing. I sat near the end, my stomach churning, an envelope of screenshots tucked in my purse like a grenade. Across the table, Claire held court, her laugh bright, her wine glass catching the chandelier's glow. She knew I'd been digging, but I held her secret. Days before, I'd had a victory. Sophie read her first chapter book at a school event, her smile lighting the room. Parents clapped, Rachel nodded, and Laura hugged me. "You're changing lives, Em," Laura said, but added, "You're carrying too much work, family, this drama. Let some go." Her advice to balance echoed, but Claire's betrayal burned hotter. Sophie's success showed I could make a difference, but here that felt distant. Carla, the parent volunteer, threw a wrench. She scheduled a last-minute school meeting on Thanksgiving morning, claiming it was urgent for the fundraiser. "You're the lead, Emily," she said, her tone sharp. "You can't skip this." I juggled calls, rearranged plans, and made it, but her timing felt deliberate, another test. I left frazzled, racing to Barb's, my resolve stronger despite the chaos. Then Mrs. Patel, the school board member, announced a classroom visit on Thanksgiving afternoon, right before dinner. "I need to see your teaching in action," she said, her clipboard ever present. I begged for a reschedule, but she was firm. So I taught a quick lesson, Sophie reading aloud, Tommy presenting his project, while Mrs. Patel scribbled notes. "Impressive effort," she said, but her tone was non-committal. Her presence, alongside Carla's stunt, added a layer of stress, but I pushed through, determined to nail Thanksgiving. I hadn't slept since unlocking Claire's phone. Dylan's texts, flirty, intimate, urging him to leave his wife, were printed, ready to shatter her facade. My hands trembled. This would hurt Barb, Greg, Tom. Judy's laughter, Martin's doubt, Sarah's misjudgment, Lisa's dismissal, Rachel's emails, Carla's pressure, Mrs. Patel's scrutiny. They all swirled. Claire's barbecue toast, her dare, drove me forward. Dinner started smoothly. Greg carved the turkey. Jake joked about his diet. Barb fussed over plates. A cousin shared a work story. Neighbors laughed. Claire smiled at me. "Happy Thanksgiving, Em," she said, voice sweet. I nodded, throat tight. Then she stood, silencing the room. "Before we eat," Claire said, "I owe Emily an apology." My fork froze. My barbecue toast was thoughtless. "Let's start fresh." Her eyes were soft, smile contrite. Table nodded. Barb smiled, Tom whispered, "She's trying." But I saw her calculated glint. This was a trap to disarm me. "Thanks, Claire," I said, voice steady. Inside I burned. She thought she'd outsmart me. Not today. Her apology was a lie, and I was done. We ate chatting. Waited. Jake gave my cue, grinning at Claire. "At least I'm not like your client Dylan, sneaking around with his wife." Laughter followed, but Claire's glass paused. Jake didn't know, he'd heard gossip, but it was my spark. I stood, legs shaky. "I have something to share." Forks dropped, eyes turned. Tom frowned. Claire's gaze sharpened. I pulled the envelope, heart pounding. "Claire's been lying," I said. "She's too close with a married client, Dylan Carter." I tossed the screenshots, pages scattering, texts, dates. "I miss you" in stark print. Chaos broke. Barb gasped, hand to her mouth. Greg grabbed a page, face red. "What's this, Claire?" he roared. Claire leapt up, chair scraping. "It's not what it looks like," she cried. "Those are private, twisted." Her voice cracked, charm gone. Jake read a page, shaking his head. "You can't spin this," he said. Barb sobbed, clutching Greg. "How could you?" she whispered. Greg slammed the table. "Explain now." Claire faltered. "It's just work talk. Emily's lying." But the text screamed the truth. "Tell her soon, Dylan." I stood tall, victory pulsing. Claire's mask was off. But Tom's eyes hit me. Not on Claire, on me, raw with betrayal. "You did this," he whispered. "Here." My heart sank. I'd expected support. The room blurred, triumph fading. Jake muttered, How long did you know? I swallowed. Long enough. He nodded, but Tom's stare burned. Barb's cries, Greg's rage, Claire's denials. I'd caused this. Claire grabbed her coat, hissing, "You'll regret this, Emily," and stormed out, door slamming. Silence fell, paper strewn. Tom walked to the porch, jaw tight. I couldn't move. I'd won, but the cost was steep. Claire fled Thanksgiving in tears, her perfect image in ruins. Her affair with Dylan Carter spread like wildfire. Cousins, neighbors, Barb's book club whispered it. By morning, Claire's reputation was shot. Clients ditched her, listings tanked, her social media went dark. I'd wanted her to pay, and she was in full view. Dylan's wife, Sarah, not Tom's colleague, took it harder. A dinner guest sent her the texts, and she confronted Dylan that night. She threw him out, his bags littering their lawn. Her bakery surged, customers lining up, as if her defiance fueled her. I admired her strength. My own win felt hollow. Tom was ice. He slept on the couch, his silence heavy. In our kitchen, coffee cold, he faced me. "You hurt my family, Emily," he said. "Claire was wrong, but this? Thanksgiving. That's not us." I wanted to yell that Claire struck first, that he'd laughed at her toast, but his betrayed eyes stopped me. "We need counseling," he said, leaving. Our trust was fragile. Work needed fixing. I'd neglected lesson plans, lost in Claire's chaos. Rachel's complaints, Carla's critiques, and Mrs. Patel's audits grew sharper. Karen, my principal, warned, "You're on thin ice, Emily." I met her, heart racing. "I've been off," I admitted, "but I'm back." I shared Sophie's reading success, and Karen softened. "One more shot, Emily." I dove in, my job secure. Barb called, her voice weary. "Claire needed a wake-up call," she said. "She's off real estate, rethinking things." "But you heard us, Emily. Why not talk to us?" Guilt stung. "You belong," she added, "but come to us next time." Her words were a bridge, but I'd burned part of it. Judy, the gossiping neighbor, surprised me. She'd spread rumors at the barbecue, but, guilt-ridden, joined Barb to mediate. At a coffee shop, Judy apologized. "I was wrong, Emily. You're one of us." Barb nodded. "We're healing." Their effort moved me. Martin, the family friend, also stepped in. He met me at a diner, face-lined. "Claire messed up, but you shook Tom's family," he said. "Your family." His effort hurt me but showed me guilt. Sarah, Tom's colleague, came around. At a school event, she apologized. "I got you wrong, Emily. You're fierce." She offered to collaborate on a fundraiser. Her words warmed me. Lisa, Tom's cousin, reached out too. She dismissed me at the barbecue. At a family gathering, she pulled me aside. "I shouldn't have sided with Claire," she said, eyes down. "You didn't deserve that. Let's fix this." Her regret was genuine, and we talked, her stories of past family events helping me feel like part of the clan again. But her apology, like Martin's, reminded me of my revenge. My victory had fractured ties I'd wanted to strengthen. Claire's fallout lingered, then faded. Gossip died. Greg golfed. Barb returned to her dogs. Claire stayed low. Jake texted. "Savage, Em. Respect." Tomakin and I started counseling, raw but real. He was admitted, missing Claire's cruelty. I owned my escalation. We were rebuilding. At school, I shone, Mrs. S. reading shone. Mrs. nodded approvingly. But doubts lingered. Barb's tears, Martin's sigh, Lisa's laugh, Tom's face. Revenge was sweeter, but bitter. On our porch, I saw snow fall. I wondered if I'd won or lost. Claire's exposure at Thanksgiving was my triumph. But the aftermath was a reckoning. Her affair with Dylan was out, her reputation in shreds, but the shockwaves hit everyone. Barb's sobs, Greg's fury, Tom's silence. I'd wanted Claire to feel my pain, but I hadn't expected to feel theirs too. My victory was a fire that warmed me, but left ashes I couldn't ignore. Now, in the weeks after, I faced the fallout. Family fractures, community whispers, my own guilt. This was the aftermath, where I learned what my revenge really meant. Ever won a fight, only to wonder if the cost was too high? That's my story here. The neighborhood buzzed with gossip. At the grocery store, neighbors gave me sidelong glances, some nodding, others whispering. Claire's real estate signs vanished, her office dark. Dylan's wife Sarah was a local hero, her bakery packed. I avoided it, her strength a mirror to my own, but her pain a reminder of what I'd unleashed. Mia called thrilled. "You did it, Em," she said. But brace for pushback. People love a scandal, but they hate the messenger. Her words were true, and I felt the weight of it. Tom was a stranger in our home felt like a battlefield. In counseling he admitted, "Claire hurt you but you hurt us," he said, voice low. "I wanted you to come to me first." I snapped, "You laughed at her toast, Tom." But I saw his shame. We were stuck, trust fragile, love strained, love strained. I missed him, his puns, his warmth, but my anger lingered. Work was another storm. Sophie's success shone, but my focus had taken a hit. Rachel softened, praising Sophie, but Carla was relentless. She'd rallied the parent volunteer group, now led by Carla, rallied against rallied me, now claiming my personal drama hurt my teaching. At a parent meeting she stood up, voice sharp. "Emily's distracted," she said. "Mrs. Thompson's priorities aren't our kids." Other parents nodded, some whispering about the Thanksgiving scandal. I defended myself, citing Sophie's progress, my book fair, but Carla's words stung, echoing Rachel's old doubts, Mrs. Patel's scrutiny. Karen pulled me aside after. "Handle this, Emily," she said. "Your job's at stake." I nodded, gut churning, vowing to prove them wrong, but the backlash hurt. Carla's group, like Judy's gossip, made me feel like an outsider again, fighting to belong in my own school. Barb and Greg were distant. I visited their house, hoping to mend things, but Barb's eyes were red. "We love you, Emily," she said, "but Claire's our daughter. You could have talked to us." Greg grunted, petting Max, avoiding my gaze. Their pain cut deep. I'd wanted to join their family, not break it. Martin's mediation, Judy's apology, Lisa's regret. They'd helped, but the wound was fresh. Sarah, Tom's colleague, stayed supportive. At a school fundraiser she helped me set up, her smile warm. "You're tougher than I thought," she said. "Ignore the noise." Her faith, like Laura's, was a lifeline, but Carla's parent group loomed. I tried reaching Claire, leaving a voicemail. "We need to talk." She didn't reply, but Jake texted. "She's laying low, Em. You hit hard." His respect was bittersweet. I'd won, but at what cost? Helen, Barb's friend, called me. "You've hurt them," she said, voice cold. "Fix it or you're out." Her threat, like Carla's backlash, made me question my choices. I threw myself into teaching, helping Sophie, planning lessons. Mrs. Patel visited again, her notes less harsh. "You're improving," she said, a rare nod. But nights brought doubts. Barb's tears, Tom's distance, Carla's accusations. I'd exposed Claire, but the aftermath showed me revenge wasn't clean. I was stronger, but the family I craved was bruised, my community divided. On my porch, watching snow, I wondered, was I the hero or the one who'd lost more? Ever faced a win that felt like a loss? Share your thoughts, I'm listening. Was I the hero or villain? Maybe both. That Thanksgiving, screenshots scattered across Barb's table, weighs heavy. Exposing Claire's affair felt like a firework. Brilliant, then gone. It left scars on a family I'd fought to join. Revenge showed my strength. I faced Claire's cruelty, her smirks, her slights, and stood tall. But it didn't heal. Her pain of her barbecue toast, laughter. It still ached. Vengeance lingered, a spark. Bright, fleeting, costing more than it gave. I've grown. I set boundaries, firm lines where I'd bent. I speak up, no longer swallowing Claire's jabs, Tom's silence. Family isn't blood, it's who shows up. Lily's tears, driving to me through grief. Mia's scheming, cheering over coffee. Jake's respect, texting through chaos. They're my people more than a name. Rachel changed my perspective. At a school event she thanked me. "Sophie's reading because of you," she said. "I was wrong to doubt you." Her warmth hit deep, showing my worth wasn't in revenge. It was in lives like Sophie's. The fundraiser I led brought our community together. Parents, kids, even Carla rallied, stuffing jars for books. Tommy's poster, "Ms. Emily's Book Drive," made me proud. It showed I could build, not break Claire's legacy. Mr. Ellis offered final wisdom. Over tea he reflected. "You stood up," he said. "Your legacy's teaching, not settling scores." His words grounded me, tying my worth to legacy. Miss Carter, the librarian, praised me too. At the fundraiser she pulled me aside. "You've inspired this town, Emily," she said. "Mentor others, pass it on." Her encouragement, rooted in her work with kids, showed my teaching could outlast this drama. She invited me to lead a library mentoring program, and I nodded, ready to build something new. Dylan's wife Sarah's bakery thrives. Cinnamon rolls a hit. Claire's reflecting, quiet. Jake says maybe changing. Tom and I counsel rebuilding. Truth is messy but needed. Claire's affair wasn't mine, but exposing it was my stand. Walking away can find you. I'm discovering Emily. If you got revenge, what was it? Outsmarted a bully, walked away. Share below. Watching from Denver, Tokyo. Your couch. Like, subscribe, share. You're enough.